episode of the DewatchPod podcast. I am your smorgasbord.
And I am Jim with a G, and this will be our second time recapping an entire show.
Yeah, an entire show that we have fully watched. We have watched the best and worst IMDb rated episode from each season of the Star Trek show, Strange New Worlds.
And also 4.5 Vulcans.
That's right. And we are using that extremely uneven sample to form an opinion on whether you should watch Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
And keep in mind, just purely statistically, everyone always says that the outliers provided the most information on the sample.
That's right. We've done that bit before. So, if you were to do so, or if you were to listen to more of this episode, what sorts of content might you be on the lookout for?
You might be on the lookout for the terminal illness of a child,
Violence,
gore,
mass death,
and suffocation. Wow. It's like, I know it sounds worse when we put them together, but it's still so much less than
this
even
is
like
7 episodes.
Yeah.
Like,
compared to like one episode of Black Mirror would have more of this.
And of course, the episodes we have watched for this recap are
The Salot That Ate Its Tail.
4.5 Vulcans.
What is Starfleet?
Subspace Rhapsody.
Those Old Scientists.
A Quality of Mercy.
And finally, The Elysian Kingdom.
And we did watch them in that order, but they wouldn't release in that order for practical reasons, because I didn't want to release What is Starfleet around Christmas.
Why not?
Because it's such a downer when we talk about it.
Okay, I see, right, because, yeah,
like it's the 21st.
Oof.
Yeah,
that's a bad time.
No, so I've just switched that around, so that's coming out very soon.
What will be our Christmas episode of 4.5 Vulcans?
Yeah.
Okay, neat. That feels
exactly.
not at all Christmassy, but
yeah, no, it's a lot
goofy.
more jolly, certainly.
Anyway, so we've judged the entirety of Black Mirror as our life's work, as our master's thesis. So
as
now
our magnum opus.
this one is a bit more chill about it. Like we haven't dedicated quite as much of our lives to Star Trek.
This is a half-formed opinion,
but we still are going to give it confidently and with no hesitation. So, Jorgen, do you think we should recommend the entirety of Strange New Worlds to our listeners?
Yes, but tepidly.
Oh, I think I'm less tepid about it than you. Also, Podcat is here, newly vaccinated. Vet says he might be a bit tired. Has not kicked in yet.
Yeah. Well, he's been normal.
He's been normal, which means showing up with energy to our podcasts.
That's right. Which hasn't happened in a while, but let us assure you, he's been going pretty crazy.
Sure has.
But yeah, and we have unfortunately accidentally provided him a toy that's loud.
That is also true. I don't know, like when you pitched Strange New Worlds to me, or when you pitched Star Trek more broadly, but with the intro point Strange New Worlds, you were like, this is the Hollywood slop. You know, this is the edges have been sanded off.
No, this is the streamer slop. It's very different.
Okay,
this is the it's too prestige-y, right? It looks too good.
I get it. Like, it definitely doesn't have, like, it's not a Eurojank show, exactly.
No.
But, like, I don't know. It's still doing fun stuff. Like, any show that is willing to genuinely try to do something like a musical episode, I'm in. Because, like, stuff like 4.5 Vulcans, I'm like, okay, you could just write this off as a fan service episode, and it would still be within, stream slop rules. Yeah. Same thing for like Those Old Scientists. Crossovers. Very, very lucrative in a certain fan base.
Yeah, no, my particular meaning there was that, like, this is a very low variance TV show, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have very good episodes and it doesn't have very bad episodes. And I stand by that, right? Because, like, the episodes that usually catch the most flack in all but one of the seasons are the like sort of goofy like let's try something episodes, which like I do not respect the fans of this show at all, given the ratings they have produced.
Yeah.
Like, two of the episodes they have rated most highly are like massive nostalgia bait, where it's like, hey, here's Captain Kirk.
I guess there's a curiosity for me in there, because like I wonder how much like surely the vast majority of people who watched this were not alive for the original series.
You'd think so, but like I don't know. I think like it's got a certain place.
Is this? Do you think this is the sort of? It's like I as much
I
as
think I think like the ratings are like not that far out of the ordinary for like those people to like put them over the top.
right.
And I also don't respect the people who go like, yeah, this episode was really goofy, I'm going to rate it very low. Now, what I do respect is rating my, like, and this is like up there with like my most hated Star Trek episodes with What is Starfleet. Because I think like it has almost nothing to say, and the little it has to say is heinous.
I was gonna ask because like I may have kind of gotten the vibe of at least Strange New Worlds now, but I do not have a greater understanding of the Star Trek community. Do you think this is the kind of shit where like, you know, like born in the wrong generation, like you need to watch Star Wars in the original Greek, like kind of vibe?
That's such a fascinating thing to say.
I get what I'm talking about.
No,
is
no,
that sort of misplaced nostalgia?
It's really hard to say. Like I only have one like other like access to the Star Trek community as like a social space, and it is my friend who like got into it like when the J.J. Abrams movies of all things got like made, and she like started watching them with her parents. So in that way it like it I think there is like an intergenerational quality. And I think like the new shows have like very clearly like revived some of the older stuff. And I think like on top of that, like I think the intergenerational quality might also be like, hey, like this is something you can show your children, right? Like sure, it's maybe not all of them. Like I'm pretty sure like originally I watched these on Netflix. I watched like my first Star Trek on Netflix. And I'm pretty sure Netflix just like skipped some episodes that were like had like historically poor renown.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, genuinely, there were just 2 episodes where I was like, no, I actually haven't seen Threshold. That's strange.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, the other thing I suppose here is like, I speaking to the budget thing, right? One of the things I was kind of expecting, because of our design of doing the worst and the best rated episodes, I was expecting a bottle episode at some point, and we don't really get that, right?
No.
Like, there's some questions of what would constitute a bottle episode, because I'm sure they have the set, right? But like, I can't think of any that are like particularly low on the effects, even, right? Like, I can't help but feel that maybe 4.5 Vulcans are the ones that are the least, but then you have quite a wide cast and
no,
like a lot of stuff going on.
It's what I'm saying, right? It's like all of this is like not made very budget consciously, right? Like I do just think that they just should just like give them a budget rather than an episode count for the show. Like that would be, I just want them I want to see them work with that.
Sounds almost sadistic in a way.
No, like I think just don't shrink the budget. Just let them be like, hey, work out how you like want to prioritize. But of course, again, network slop, and it has to be like gorgeous, and I hate that.
It's I want to say, like, as far as like it seems like and I don't know the actual working conditions of the show, but I also feel like, broadly speaking, as much as the cast is, as you stated before, too hot, they seem to be like quite into it.
Yeah.
Broadly speaking, I think like one thing we've talked about before is that on occasion they get to do the classic actor thing of acting 2 characters at each other, and even more than that, it seems like there's a lot of episodes where they're like, ooh, guess what? You're gonna have to do out of character stuff for your character now along certain lines. And I have to imagine that's a pretty good second place for acting two characters.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I think they're like quite good about giving actors like fun stuff to work with.
Yeah.
Though I think like the production process has like changed in such a way that, there's not that much like interplay there.
Mm.
But yeah, no, like I do think like what is just straight up missing from the view we have had is just like the very large amount of just like decent episodes that are like just completely fine to put on like a weekday evening, because you're like, oh, I could watch a bit of Star Trek, and like you will not be disappointed most of the time.
Well, like, the thing about that strikes me is, to me, that's what I would assume the Salat at its own tail is.
I mean, it is, but it has obviously the added like ratings benefit of being like, hey, here's Kirk.
Here's Kirk doing Kirk stuff, like
Yeah.
Captain Kirk stuff.
Yeah,
which
he's
is
having character moments.
Yeah, which is supposed to be the only other episode we've seen where... Because we've gotten a fair number of Kirk episodes, but the only other one where he's a captain, I think, is A Quality of Mercy.
Mm-hmm.
And that one is obviously, hey, we're doing one of the ones from the original series again. So yeah, like...
Yeah. I think there's one like other Mater Kirk episode, and it got outshone by the crossover episode.
Really?
Yeah, no, like generally speaking, also season 2 has like by far the best rankings of this show.
I mean,
so
it does
far.
have Subspace Rhapsody.
I mean that's the lowest rated episode.
I know, but it's really good. Like, okay, this is the hill I'm willing to die on. Apart from Subspace Rhapsody just being a good musical episode, I think if you're going like, oh, this was the worst episode in the season, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, no,
like even if I take away my love for musicals.
Yeah, no, like that is like, that's like I guess the upside of how this works, right? Because sure, it might be like a bit more streaming produced, where it's like we don't budget for 24 episodes more. We just need space to look like just visually gorgeous all of the time, so that's where the budget's going. But like that also is clearly leading to like a certain kind of conservatism that just like doesn't let them produce like a certain kind of bad episode anymore that old Star Trek kind of had, where it's like a lot more like rushed and thrown together.
Right. I think like a kind of like interesting thing I felt is that, like, on one hand, like let's take something like What is Starfleet, right? Like the principal plot going on that's kind of in the background because of the documentary thing, but like the thing that the Enterprise is dealing with there is this huge like space butterfly, and it's insanely gorgeously animated, and like all the effects. And then like the interesting comparison to me is that like I feel like whenever they've contacted like aliens, it's always the same set. Right, like it's just it feels like there are some things in there that are budget conscious, but then they're also like, listen,
Set pieces.
yeah, like obviously we need to have every piece of fireworks in LA County gathered for this one scene. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, there's like another black hole episode that's also just completely gorgeous. Like things of this nature.
It has very strong, please someone help me budget this, my family's dying.
Yeah, no, like and that is just straightforwardly like my greatest criticism of the show. Like as a whole, like it just doesn't take enough swings. But it does just produce this like extremely like watchable thing.
But like
And
I do think it kind of does take swings. Like I realize obviously we are looking at the extremes, but like that's still 2 episodes. Like, okay, running through it, I think season 3 I fully agree with you on. Like 4.5 Vulcans, fun, but also like again very clearly sellable. In the sense of being like, hey, we're doing nostalgia bait and like fan service. I guess more fan service than nostalgia.
Yeah, no, like I do think that's still a swing, right? Because it's like extremely like character driven and soapy.
I think as someone who comes from liking the BioWare community, I'd no longer consider fan service a swing. We've had a bad couple of years with that. But like in comparison, like season 2, crossovers, weird, but like it's still doing like I think at the core, the way they do it isn't just like, oh, these people and these people meet. It's like, let's do a time travel plot, and that's inherently kind of goofy, right? Like it's not like butterfly effect time travel. This is like, we found this portal.
No, I mean, this is unfortunately like we are looking at the outliers, so like the solid middle is kind of hidden.
Yeah. But then you have like even then season 1, what do we get there, right? Like we get time travel plot where I think they hit you kind of well with like someone's in Pike's quarters. It's a Pike. Like that feels classic goofy sci-fi. And even that's like the serious episode.
Yeah.
And then obviously you have Elysian Kingdoms, which is just full goof, and the character.
No, it's a big swing because it's just like a big genre shift. It's very child oriented, but it's not goofy.
I would say it's very goofy to have like Pike be like, I'm a sniveling vizier.
It's a bit comedic, but I don't think it's a like goofy episode as a whole.
We are talking about Elysian Kingdoms.
Yeah.
You don't think it's goofy for them to be like mind controlled into being a fairy tale?
I guess we just have different baselines.
I guess.
That is just like it's just standard Star Trek to me.
Okay, then I understand a lot more about this discussion right away.
Like a lot of Star Trek is like, a lot of Strange New World is a lot more muted than that.
Right.
And like that's the stuff we mostly don't see.
I guess to me, just is like something like Subspace Rhapsody. To me, is actually almost less goofy than Hey, Everyone's a Fairy Tale person now. I mean, like, it includes a space ghost. That's really cool in a certain sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I think there are swings in here. It's just,
I mean, we're looking at most of the swings.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
The other stuff mostly isn't swings.
I don't disagree, but like 2 out of 10 at least for a modern streaming show. Yeah, it's pretty swingy.
That's what I'm saying. Like there is just such a pull to keep it stable that it's like I do think the show, like, for what it is like trying to like do stuff, and I think like the harshness of the constraints speaks to a larger issue, you know?
That's fair. Yeah. It's
another thing I want to pull out from the things only I can talk about because you haven't seen the whole show, is they do tend to just like put a different romance subplot for Spock specifically into each season.
So the first one is his wife.
Yeah.
Second one is
who
Chapel.
You've never seen, who you have seen.
And the last is Lon.
Yes. Now, those are 2 misses and a hit for me, in that order.
Okay. You didn't like Chapel? Chapel?
No, it's mostly like awkward teenage vibes, unfortunately.
I see. But like, it does give you the beautiful finale of being broken up with during a sick cabaret song.
Yeah, no, like that's, which again, extremely teenage vibes, right?
Absolutely.
Like, and in like season 3, they were just like, what if we like acted like these characters were adults who like kind of liked each other, and like learned how to tango.
I've been wanting to enjoy. Like, I'm gonna put a lid on the Subspace Rhapsody discussions. I promise. But I really like that Spock gets a breakup song where he's like, relationships didn't work out, time to be full autistic forever now. Like, that's such a good idea for a song.
Having seen like a decent slice of all of the show, how do you feel about the like autism Vulcan thing?
Okay, so like I guess I wish I had more of an image of original Spock. And I think it's like one of the really complicated.
We'll get there in like 3 years.
Yay! One of the really complicating factors here, though, is the fact that like I've gotten hints, right? And then I'm trying to think. Like, the thing is, I actually feel like I haven't gotten that much of Spock, right? Like, I've gotten a bit in 4.5 Vulcans, where he's like, Vulcans are kind of mean. I wish you guys didn't turn into Vulcans. And then there's the season 2 thing where like we get it, but in both of the episodes we've seen, right? Where it's like there's something about Chapel trying to make him more emotional, I guess, and then of course their like breakup during Subspace Rhapsody.
Well, they finish breaking up.
Yeah, I guess so. Like
it's very off on things of this nature.
yeah, I mean like Subspace Rhapsody, because we get a little bit of Spock and Chapel in the beginning where they're both like, I don't really want to like talk to her because I feel like a breakup is coming, and if I don't talk to her, it can't happen. I'm just gonna keep this grenade lever pushed in for as long as I can. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the Vulcan thing about like, oh, they're so actually emotional that they have to be like they have to do logic as like a code of conduct, I suppose, right? I think that's kind of neat. I'm sure it's not the it's neat in a very classic sci-fi sense, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like the sort of thing where, like, and I don't know how the original series treated Vulcans, but it feels like the sort of thing where they're like, you know, they crash land on a planet, a new alien species, they're all about logic, and then in the last, like, 5 minutes of the episode where everything is resolved, they're like, actually, we're very emotional. We have to use logic to keep our feelings in check. That's how I read Vulcans, and I think that's fun, if not like groundbreaking.
Does that add to like the autism analogy to you? Because like I feel like that does speak to like autistic people a little bit, where it's like, well, there's a lot of feelings, but like it's harder to be in touch with them.
There's an element of that. Like, I first of all, I guess I would say that's so it's called alexithymia. And it's broader than autism, I would say. Like, the thing that makes that really complicated, right, is that for a lot of autistic people, it's actually much less about whether or not you're in tune with your emotions and more like whether other people pick up on them, right? And that's not quite what I get out of Vulcans in my limited experience. For them, it is more like, no, we've pulled down the shutters on this. Though, to be fair, I suppose when Spock tries to express his feelings outside of song, at least, he's not exactly nailing it.
No.
So there's an element there for sure.
That really grows up between seasons 2 and 3.
That's unfortunate to know, given that we get so little of Spock in what I've seen of season 3. But yeah, no, like, I mean, I think there's something you can dig in there. I think there's connections. I think there's also like clear separations. I guess like because this is, from what I understand, the whole Vulcan thing is quite well established back to the original series, right? Like it's like the main alien species.
See, here a little bit of a hint to the listeners. I have not seen the original series either. I have seen I want to say the majority of Star Trek.
Right.
But nothing of the original series, except for, of course, when you watched the companion episode,
Balance of Terror,
which is to Quality of Mercy, which is Balance of Terror.
Yeah. But like, as far as I understand, Spock at least does go back to the very original series.
No. But I'm not sure like how unaltered the Vulcan lore is.
That's fair. My only thing is that like I'm thinking about autistic representations in the 1960s. Right, because like my vague understanding, at least, is that Spock's characterization on broad terms is meant to be roughly the same. Like, in like the sense of like the pillars of who he is. And then, you know, you can dig into aspects, absolutely. But like the idea of like, he's, I don't know when it gets established he's a half-human. That feels extremely like third season of a show established.
I think that's how many seasons they got, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Though they got like 7 movies as well, sort of in the intervening years.
That's so many.
Yeah, no, like Star Trek actually has like it has, of course, these sort of 3 major waves of TV shows, which is like original series with the animated to pair, the sort of next generation 3 major shows, and now the sort of modern wave of shows.
Right.
But like sort of bridging the first and the second, there is just like at some point they're like, we could just make movies. There's a lot of suburban moms who think William Shatner is very attractive.
Well, okay, let's be honest with those suburban moms. William Shatner is not attractive alone. He's attractive with Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, no, like, like we have, and then of course we also have Picard and Riker, who are um also just red meat for the moms. Like there's like Star Trek has never not been like a show that is not about um giving the world hot boys to look at.
Red meat for the moms. I think that might be a phrase I'll be taking with me from here on out.
But genuinely, like that is like the like backbone of like Star Trek fandom. Just like people who are like very horny for these middle-aged men.
They invented fan fiction. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah, no, like it's
We owe a historical debt to those suburban moms.
and then like Neckbeard showed up and we're like, yes, this is very intelligent.
You know, like, I don't want to insult anyone. My read on Star Trek so far is it's not dumb, but intelligence is not at the forefront of every episode, and that's good.
Yeah.
I think that makes it better.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel the need to be as smug as Black Mirror, for example. But, like, I will say,
would be a very hard part to play.
I mean, Black Mirror is very far up there. I could not think of a show to really rival it. I'm sure there are, to be clear, but like, it's well ahead of the competition that I know of.
I guess circling for a second here,
Yeah.
like we have like the very strange precursor to doing Star Trek, which is 2 episodes of Callister. Like, isn't it quite interesting how, the way that Charlie Brooker handles like, hey, let's talk about Star Trek, is just straightforwardly going like, yeah, let's get goofy, right? Like that's because like Mr. fucking pretentious over here is like, I don't know how to like do Star Trek without just like getting real silly with it.
So I'm gonna maybe come out as a bit of a controversial point here. I don't think USS Callister 2 is about Star Trek. Genuinely, I know there's been like a Star Trek MMO or whatever, but like I think it's obviously about EVE Online a little bit, but actually
it is that it fails to be.
Absolutely, it's not particularly interested apart from the hey MMO sci-fi.
Yeah.
But genuinely, I think USS Callister 2 draws a lot more from like a little bit of Mass Effect, a little bit of like The Expanse, a little bit of Firefly. Like it's a lot more about the roguishness, right? Like Star Trek is a show to my reading. Star Trek is a collection of shows that tend to focus a lot on like ingenuity and creativity, but also like on emotional sort of like resolutions inside a crew. But it is about like a group of upstanding people who are fairly ordered about things, right? Like they're not hierarchical in the military sense that much compared to like other examples, but they are like orderly. They're not like a bunch of like little goblins fucking around. USS Scouter 1 is the interesting one, right? And the problem is that I think it doesn't at all like it feels so focused on, you know, the original series as a concept. Actually, like recently the other day I ended up reading something about like the whole thing about like, oh, the original series had all the women running around in miniskirts thing, which at the time was kind of seen as progressive in the sense that like they don't have to be fully covered up all the time. And you could like, obviously, whenever that sort of explanation comes up, you can poke some holes in it, but simultaneously, it was in the 60s. My dude, this was like housewife era, like traditionalism era.
Yeah, no, this is like the high point of like American nuclear family shit. Also, technically, not mini skirts, just like very short uniforms without pants.
Yeah.
Which, like, I guess it's technically like vaguely a dress.
Yeah.
But
it's a short dress.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, like that sort of thing. I guess. I feel like I don't have enough to say without having watched the original series, you know?
Yeah, no.
Like there, I can kind of get it, but also like, there's just an open space there.
Yeah, I guess to like take more pot shots at Callister for a second. Like,
yeah, of course. Hit it. We love that.
Like, I have gone at great length about talking about how Callister like deeply like misunderstands what Star Trek is about by doing its like yes, the dangers of nostalgia thing. Um when like Star Wars was like at like around that cultural moment like the main sort of villain in that front because people were getting very reactionary about Star Wars. Um, and like adding just to that to go like, yeah, no, like who is emblematic for this? Of
Mm.
course, like it's like the like middle-aged man who is like willing to become a fascist over childhood media, right? And it's like an element that I just like didn't think to draw on back then. It's just like the like no, this show was like kept alive by like primarily a fandom of women, right? And it
Yeah.
also erases that. So more demerits for Callister One.
I feel like it's one of those. It's one of those areas that has such genuine complexity to it, right? Because like, I think there's a broad understanding that like we don't have to forgive the sins of the past,
Yeah.
but like if someone goes like, "Oh, this like fucking ancient Greek slave owner released his slaves," the proper response is not to be like, "Well, I shouldn't have had some in the first place." Like you gotta fucking
Yeah.
look at some the nuance of the time and like the good parts as well, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like this also comes into play a lot when it comes to media and marginalized groups, right? Which like, yeah, all the women being in mini dresses that like show off their legs and stuff like that, it's weird. It probably shouldn't be accepted these days. Different context at the time that, while it does not have to forgive the fact that all of the leading characters are male in the original series, there wasn't really an option. Like, you couldn't have
Yeah.
made like a properly, in the modern sense, feminist show at the time.
Yeah, no, they were fighting tooth and nail to get what they could on screen.
So I feel like it's the same thing to me with a lot of like you know there's been this talk recently about like a lot of queer coded villains from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and it's like well they're bad representations. Like yeah, but like they were representations
Yeah.
at a time when you couldn't have those.
Mm.
Like they were snuck in by queer people because
Yeah,
they
we were
couldn't.
like, let's have fun. And like I think that is a step above queer representation. It's like, yes, queer people suffer a lot, but they're also very good people. Right? Like just like, yes, I'm gay and I love burning churches. I am the villain's singer. Like that's art, you know?
Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, interesting. I think that's kind of like part of like the actual complicated history of a show like Star Trek that has, on one hand, been on the progressive side of history, but has also been around for a really long
Yeah.
time.
Suddenly starting to think about The Simpsons.
Oh, that would be too long to talk
we
about.
cannot get into this, but
But I wanna circle for a second as well, because
Yeah.
like you obviously have a much greater understanding of Star Trek. But I remember like long before I even watched even a single episode of Star Trek, I've had this quote I read somewhere about like Star Trek being inspired by a wagon train to the stars as like part of its original pitch. And like I'm always very interested in like the sort of subgenres of sci-fi, like and I'm talking about like the proper space sci-fi, you know, ship crew out in
Yeah.
the world, right? You have stuff like Firefly, very much a space western, like bunch of rogues fucking firing from the hip and
Oops, all rogues.
yeah. You have something like Mass Effect, which is like a very military space opera, and I think like Star Trek's idea of like a wagon train to the stars, which a bunch of dudes who, yes, like this is a military command structure by technicality, but it's also like, as emphasized in something like those old scientists, it's a scientific expedition.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like that's quite unique these days. Like Monster of the Week type stuff it's become quite unpopular.
Yeah, I mean, the revival of the like modern revival of Star Trek didn't start like that, right? The big new show whose name I'm forgetting now.
Discovery?
Discovery, thank you. Why do you know that? Sorry, have to say the line. Like Discovery was extremely like, sort of. It was like just in the wake of like the sort of golden age of like streaming, when it was like, yeah, no, we just like have a bunch of money from like Netflix's like venture people, and we're going to make like a 10 episode arc of Daredevil. And they like pretty much took that approach to Star Trek. Um, and it's like very, very different because like if I'm complaining about like, hey, we only have 10 episodes, there's not enough room to like explore, right? Like that's so much worse if you have like a lot of big arcs.
Mm.
And like that is something like that Strange New World has like made a point to get away from. To be like, no, no, we're returning to the roots. And like it's a stunted return to the roots, but like um it's definitely like a reaction to that.
Well, it kind of comes back to what you said earlier, right? About like doing what you can with the restraints put on you.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just conceptually interesting because like I remember growing up with a lot of like Monster of the Week type shows.
Yeah.
Right? Like
No, those are gone now.
yeah, like because I'm thinking like the latest big one I can even think of, apart from Strange New Worlds, if you want to call that one big, is like Supernatural. And Supernatural was I haven't watched Supernatural, but I was on Tumblr. So to me it is infamous for the fact that like it grew extremely like intertangled with like a bunch of running subplots over time.
Yeah.
They're still doing Monster of the Week as their sort of like core idea, but it got like, you know, every episode had a bunch of little webs spinning off of it. And then, you know, the ending, which was, of course, hilarious.
Yeah.
To be present for. But like it's conceptually interesting, right? Because I think obviously like streaming media has had a huge impact on that, right? Because when you release an entire season at once of something, you want it to be like, ooh, this subplot has come up, I need to watch the next one. Ooh, this, but that
Yeah.
like that's obviously Monster of the Week is not designed for that. Monster of the Week is designed for like, I've got an hour. Before I have to get to the dentist or something, like let me put on like a episode where they fight a big blob monster.
Yeah, no, strangely, and I don't know if this is a very particular experience or not. My the way I like experience these shows the exact opposite. Where like this is particularly bad with, I want to say like House MD, where it's just like, oh, I'll just have like one more crisp, one more 45-minute episode.
I remember being there for your downfall into the world of House MD.
Like I don't like, clearly this isn't showing up on like Netflix's number sheet, but like for me it's like the exact opposite. I find it very exhausting to be like, oh, there's another cliffhanger, right? Like I like actively avoid shows like that these days because I was there for the beginning and I'm like, I just can't, man. Like it's never like the cliffhanger is always like meaningless within like extremely quickly. But like if it's just like, oh, just one more crisp, like it is just fully like the like one of those is strangely more like binge eating equivalent to me than the other.
I think it probably depends a lot on what kind of person you are, right? Like,
Yeah.
because fundamentally, what like binge streaming plot setups is about is like you won't get the full payoff until you're at the season finale,
Yeah.
and that's where we reveal actually the payoff is next season's finale, and
Yeah.
on and on you go. Whereas like obviously Monster of the Week is supposed to be, or like any sort of self-contained one is supposed to be, well, self-contained. Like you get the payoff and then you're done, and then you can choose to go on to the next one if you want to get another full package.
Yeah.
You know, like it's an interesting comparison, but I can also get what you mean, right? Because at some point, if you watch too many of those shows, you get very frustrated with the setup. Like I've definitely had situations where I've been like watching a show I kind of like, but then I'm like, I'm watching this for like 3 hours and it's not getting anywhere. I think I'm just like done for a bit, and then sometimes done for a bit means done forever.
Yeah, I've recently watched The Expanse, and it's like, I'm like a bit into season 2, and that fatigue is hitting now. And it's like, why does everything need to like be a pitched battle? Like, I know, just like get to the point, man.
You gotta skirmish a bit.
Yeah, no, I think for a viewing experience, like, Monster in the Week and like sort of the periodized or serialized thing, or like the continuous thing, are in like a tension that I do think also shows up in this show, because again, unfortunately, another thing that you can't speak to, like with the romance arcs in particular, like we have ongoing things, right? We have like an intentional acknowledgement of continuity between these episodes. Um, and like fair enough, right? That's like we are no longer in a world where you just like might miss an episode 1 week because you are not home to watch it at the
Yeah, yeah.
regular time. You just like have an appointment or like you're going out. So like if it were to not like be recognizable enough, or if you just like missed up on out on crucial stuff, uh you would be completely lost the next week. Like that's not the world we're in anymore. So theoretically now you can be like, no, we'll just like monster of the weekend, but like things will change and like you can just like catch up on your own pace because we live in a video and on demand age now. However, the tension that this is creating, which I think is very visible in Stranger Worlds, is that you can't do the crazy shit that like the like hard reset affords you, right? Like as soon as there is an expectation of continuity, like if you do like, oh yeah, no, the captain lived like an entire lifetime,
Yeah.
in a simulation, from like a lost civilization. Anyway, see you next week. That won't matter. He knows how to play the flute now because of that, and that's all that will ever be brought up about this again.
Well, it's interesting because to me, like, I would genuinely say there would be opportunities for that, right?
Well,
Like something like even something like docile scientists, kind of in a sense, as like, oh shit, we've contacted the fucking future. We have a bunch of people in here accidentally spreading information about
yeah,
the future. Like on one hand, that is a fairly self-contained episode, and also like my understanding at least is that it's not just Chapel knowing that her relationship
yeah,
with Spock won't work out that causes them to break up, right? Like that could have happened outside of it. And like I don't know, I quite like the design of Strange New Worlds in that sense that like it is Monster of the Week, but it also has
yeah.
some stuff that
Yeah, no,
changes.
and I do think, like, conceptually, like, right, that's a very reasonable place to arrive at. However, I do think, like, it sort of puts the muzzle on, like, how, um, like it is part of why the show, like, is far more restrained and, like, taking fewer swings. Because if we now have the expectation that next episode the previous episode won't be relevant probably, but it will still have happened, right? Like there may be a character that's like sticking around, like that we set up in this episode that's relevant in next episode or something like that. And like once that expectation is there, you can't just be like, hey, something insane happened. But next episode we're going to do a different thing because once the expectation of continuity is there, like you can't just like do insane shit every week.
Can I can I do a radical proposal?
Huh?
A modest proposal. So, do you think there is room in modern cinema and modern television to bring back Last Time On for
um
just some of the main plot points, like some of the main continuous plot points, like I don't know, like in this show, like Pike's weird fate, the many romances of Spock, etc., etc. Do you think the old suburban moms are really upset that he's only getting with girls?
uh
Sorry, different topic.
I think so, but like yeah, clearly, right? I think it is to me an open question of why we are not getting television that is made in the old style anymore, right? Like I think there's probably a substantive market for just like, hey, no, we are just doing like old style 23 episodes a season, like two alternating shows that are like covering a whole fucking year, with like one season each for this slot. Um, like I think that is entirely like demand wise feasible. I suspect, um, though of course that is like a bit of an assumption. But I think the other thing that is like fully dubious, or like the other thing that we would need to like get that style of like um cranking out episodes a bit more and like just more episodes on a lower budget or whatever. The other thing we need is just like a studio system that is like capable of producing that, right? Like you need a lot of writers for that.
Yeah.
You need, right? You need like a diversity of sets, and I think we are potentially, and this is also guesswork because I just straight up like do not know why this isn't being done anymore. But the other thing might just be that like there isn't the like diversity of talent present anymore because Hollywood has like been kind of crushing its workers because they've been like all like
But don't
bought
worry,
up
we
by
have
venture
AI.
capital. That's right. So I think like there is just like a multitude of things that are like now in question that like were necessary to produce like this remarkable style of making television.
Yeah, because I'm just like, I'm thinking about it. My favorite show of all time is Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, right? And it has longer seasons. Like, I think at least season 1 and 2 is something like 20 plus episodes. And it very much has, like, on one hand, it does Monster of the Week, but it also does the, like, evolving long-term plot lines. And I think the thing that does make that work is having, like, a hey, you can extrapolate a bit of the differences in these things, but also here's the last time on, and it's fairly short.
Yeah.
And like I can't help but wonder if that would also work in like obviously much lower budget show. It takes place on Earth in 2016, right?
Yeah.
But like I can't help but wonder if that sort of stuff would help tie things together. I just worry that like people see it as lowbrow, I guess. Like it's
Maybe.
too artificial for some people these days, and like doesn't fit into like a prestige. Like one of the things I guess as someone who doesn't watch a lot of TV, I feel like there is such a prestige sickness over so many shows.
Yeah. I mean, just like to like put the cards on the table here, right? Like we are never getting like good Star Trek in like the foreseeable future.
I
Just like
think this is good Star Trek.
no, like Star Trek that is like a bit more aspirational and a bit more political because like it is owned by like one of like Trump's industrial magnates, right? Like it is in the hands of like fascist reaction now, and they sure they're gonna like allow a little bit of leeway to like keep the wheel spinning, but they're not going to allow like hey, what if having a constitution was good looks into the camera, right? And I like there is just like someone will come down on them and like stop them from like saying stuff that is like relevant to like all of these like culture war things like from like authoritarianism to climate change. So like that's just like off the table. Like we need to be clear on the stakes here, right? Like that may happen in like media production. It cannot happen in Star Trek.
Right.
It's just like we do not live in the world where that is possible.
Yeah.
Like Star Trek has been bought up by evil. Like there's no way around it. Like Larry Ellison of Oracle is like a longtime Trump associate. So like that's just done. Like Star Trek is no longer the thing that can carry forward the torch. Like maybe like in a like decade it'll like be broken out of that hold. But for the time being, like Star Trek is just like at best going to make sort of tepid cultural commentary or like really flee into like fantastic stories because they will just have like a political censor like going through the scripts. Like there's no way around that. But like more broadly speaking, like I think it's still quite hard to make that kind of TV for the reasons mentioned. So like even looking outside of Star Trek, right, that it's going to be like interesting if like someone tries that and makes it happen again because I do think like the demand may be there. But it's like there are a lot of things that like needed to happen in the first place for that period of television to be possible. And like just how unlikely those are is hard to like put together, and like how distant we are from that place is hard to really assess.
Right. Well, that's depressing.
Well, I mean, like we'll see things from the new era that are like making the best of the current state of the medium, but like the past is in the past,
Yeah,
and like we can't go back
yeah. I
unless we
think
have a
that's.
portal.
I mean, I think that is perhaps like the most interesting part at the end of the day about Strange New Worlds. It very much tries
Yeah,
not to go
yeah,
back in the sense of like calcifying some specific piece of nostalgia, but rather like just embracing a certain design that doesn't work anymore necessarily. Not in the
yeah,
sense of like storytelling, but in the sense of like production.
yeah. No, like it's in a very weird medium space, right? Where it's just it's trying to reach out for something and it doesn't quite have the means to like be in that place anymore,
It
and
must
it's
be fascinating, like just comparative material for historians in a couple of 100 years, you know?
yeah, yeah, no, like I think Star Trek is like a very good lens to like look at television through, right?
Yeah,
Because like we have stuff from like a lot of periods, and uh like it all speaks to like the different trends of the times, or
yeah.
at least like the modern
I
stuff
mean, hell,
does.
Scott Bakula was the captain in one of these shows.
Oh, I don't know who that is
You don't know
actually.
Scott? Okay, well, that's fair enough.
Sorry. um but we need to wrap up.
Yes.
Do we like I don't think there like I do think an interesting thing about Stranger in Worlds is that it is like sort of squaring the circle little bit, being like, no, no, we have meta plots, we have characters, stuff that like was that was like walked back a lot from, but it's still doing it.
Mm.
Um, we have and those things interestingly shine through the most on potential, I think the most in like the goofy episodes, strangely, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
it's like the goofy episodes are extremely character driven.
Yes. I was
And
gonna
that
say that.
that feels like a very interesting synthesis of like old style Star Trek and like sort of new style Star Trek, where it's like, no, no, obviously this is from the goofy zone, but the sort of vibe persists a lot, but we can still move things forward.
I mean, I think this is an understanding of what goofy episodes can and should do. It's
Yeah,
like it's an area where everything is exaggerated and emotional responses are above what they're normally like. Subspace Rhapsody is of course like very stereotypically that, but like even stuff like Elysian Kingdoms, right? Is like, hey, we're acting out like a psychodrama for you to deal with your
yeah,
dying daughter, right? Like even 4.5 Vulcans is about like, well, now that we're all role playing, I feel extra bullied.
yeah,
Like I'm
or
sitting down at the Dungeons and Dragons table and everyone is like, "Hey, I'm your childhood bully."
yeah, no, or now I can wreck all of my relationships with facts and logic
That one is
to
really good.
focus more on studying.
I think I think 4.5 Vulcans has really grown on me, and I even kind of liked it at the first.
I do still hate Patton Oswalt and
Of course,
everything because he's not he doesn't really do that. He's just too much himself to like inhabit a character.
I think the Patton Oswald subplot is probably like maybe the worst plot of all the ones we've seen. And
It
obviously,
it,
I'm giving it a lot of credit
it
calling it a plot,
like it is
but
very funny, but it is
it's
very bad.
it's very stupid. And not
Um,
necessarily the shining way some of the other stupid
but
plots are.
yeah, no, like I do think like despite all the constraints, like they are sort of there is like a little bit of a new synthesis shining through of like, no, no, we're going back, but the goofy shit. Because I do think the goofy stuff like gives them more license to be like, no, no, we're doing weird shit this episode, and it's not going to fully persist, but it's going to persist a little
Yeah,
bit.
I will be very interested to see where because there's 2 more seasons coming of Strange New Worlds, so I'll be very interested to see where this synthesis and this structure
Yeah,
lands in the long run.
yeah,
Like I think I
no,
will actually probably watch it.
it's very interesting, just like conceptually, because it's like it is just like the new like it is like the conundrum of the like on-demand streaming age, and like
Yeah,
we've tried like Cliffhanger City and like everyone hated it,
yeah.
I don't think you will find a big defender of Cliffhanger TV.
I don't
um
think so either.
so now we have to like find a new balance that's like can take advantage of the fact that you can actually see all episodes without like being just like, well, you have to binge them in a day to like really get the experience. So like I do think that is something I look forward to TV working out in general.
Agreed. And they sure will work it out. I'm 100% certain of that.
Someone will.
That's fair. But, Jorgen, we've got some ideas for our upcoming little break that we have.
Yeah. We have a little bit of a season prepared. Just a smidge because we're definitely looking at doing more Star Trek.
Absolutely.
However, we thought about doing something intervening, which is a bit of a literature season.
Yes.
So coming up next week, we will have Red, the ones who walk away from Omelas.
That we sure will have. It's I feel like there should be a fun bit here to do about Star Trek, but I cannot link them together because I have not read those who walk away from Omelas. Or the ones who...
The episode. So we will not reference this episode because.
Oh right, there is one.
Yeah, no. Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach is the Strange New World Omelas episode. Spoilers, I guess.
What if I show up just having seen that episode and you read?
No, it wouldn't work.
Okay.
But you can find it. You can find it read out. You can find it written down. Feel very free to catch up with the ones who walk away from Omelas. So you're ready for next episode.
And we will see you there for our little mini book club.
Indeed. So, dear listeners, see you on the other side.
See you on the other side.